Hello, welcome into an always college football update on some starting quarterback positions that have officially been decided and a couple that we're going to give you a little bit of an update on. Let's start with Arizona State opting to go with Jaden Rashada, the true freshman. Great move from Kenny Dillingham. Now, you're going to sit here and say, well, why? Why is it great? Because they are not expected to do a whole lot this year. The future for Kenny Dillingham and the future for Arizona State football is going to be in 24, 25, 26 perhaps. So why not start the guy that's going to be there and that can elevate his play accordingly to ultimately get you where you want to go? Jaden Rashada, a highly regarded prospect, great thrower, very, very athletic, very, very accurate. A guy that will, in this offense, a very quarterback-friendly offense, probably have more success as a freshman that you would in most other offensive schemes. Let's go to Oregon State, going with the veteran, DJ Uiagalelei, transfer from Clemson. I love this fit for DJ Uiagalelei. He's going to be able to operate a little bit without the weight of the world on his shoulders. At Clemson, there are national championship expectations. At Oregon State, they just want to win as many games as they possibly can, and this year might be double digits. It could very easily happen. When you look at what DJ does, he's really good on back to the defense play action. He's really good throwing the ball down the field. What is Oregon State going to be offensively? Ground and pound, control the line of scrimmage, try to create balance. Maybe they don't have elite wide receiver weapons. I understand that. But those wide receivers are going to have favorable looks because the defense is in all likelihood going to sell out against the run. So you get some one-on-ones, some big posts over the top, some deep balls. That's what DJ's done really well. Where he struggled is the middle of the field processing. If you know where you're going and he knows where he's going and he just has to go and see, is my guy open? Is he not? 1 to 2 to run. He's got a chance, I think, to be really, really successful. Love the fit and not at all surprised that Jonathan Smith opted to go with the talented veteran in DJ Uiagalelei. At Illinois, we know this offense is probably going to be a run-first style of approach. Luke Altmaier is officially the guy. Now, Luke Altmaier started his career at Ole Miss, and I know his quarterback coach well, David Morris, out of Mobile, Alabama. He swears by Luke Altmaier's talent. He swears by Luke Altmaier's skill set. Now it's about being able to do it in an offense where there's not going to be a ton on his shoulders. I love this style of attack. It's that spread power style of attack where they're still going to emphasize the run game, but they're not going to take advantage and try to beat you in a phone booth. They'll spread you out. They'll get you some looks. They'll get you to dictate offensively or defensively what you want to take away. I think Luke Altmaier has a chance to have a nice year there for an Illini team that some people I think are sleeping on. At Georgia Tech, Haynes King is officially the starter. And noticing a trend here, by the way, how many guys are transfers? I mean, Arizona State, Jaden Rashada, transfer. Remember, he started his career at Florida, true freshman, but started his career at Florida, transferred to Arizona State. Oregon State, DJ Uiagalelei. Illinois, Luke Altmaier. These guys have all transferred. Well, Haynes King has as well. He beat out redshirt freshman Zach Pyron for the number 1 spot. Zach Gibson was also in the mix, but Haynes King's a really athletic guy. Remember, at A&M, he came to A&M as an all-state sprinter in track, was the anchor leg of the Longview 4x1. This guy's got major top-end speed. The problem is the mechanics haven't been great. The decision-making hasn't been great, and the accuracy hasn't been great, but he gets a fresh start at Georgia Tech where hopefully he can regain some of the form that he had when he got to College Station and won the job not once but twice. Remember, he won the job 2 years ago and last year prior to being replaced last year by Johnson, then ultimately, obviously, by the freshman there as well. Moving on to Virginia. Tony Muskett is going to be the starter. He's a transfer from Monmouth. He beat out Anthony Caldronea. Now, he's amassed 5,600 passing yards at Monmouth and 51 touchdowns and 23 starts. Now, he's going to be going against Tennessee in week 1. It's going to be tough, but hopefully that offense can be a little bit better this year, and hopefully Tony Muskett will be comfortable within the offense because it never felt at any point like Brennan Armstrong was. Let's go to FAU. Casey Thompson, transfer from Texas to Nebraska. Now he's at FAU. He's going to be running Tom Herman's offense in his first year. He's a veteran player, very solid player, very accurate player. Now, his ceiling, not crazy high, but he's steady. You know what you're going to get with Casey Thompson, so we'll see what he can do with the Owls there at FAU. At UMass, probably wondering why we're talking about UMass, because Tyson Pumachan transferred from Clemson to Georgia Tech. Now he's at UMass. Don Brown, the head coach of the Minutemen, feels good about what Tyson can do. Tyson's a very athletic player, a really good runner, and hopefully has improved enough as a passer to be able to cause some problems for the teams that UMass will play. I don't have high hopes for UMass this year, but hopefully Tyson Pumachan gives them a chance. And I want to give you an update with what's going on at Ohio State and at Alabama. Ohio State continues to draw out their quarterback competition. The longer this thing goes, the more I'm thinking that Devin Brown has a real chance to become the guy. We've talked about it. We've documented it. If you look at this offense over the years, it will operate at its best when the quarterback is a willing and capable runner. Justin Fields was that. CJ Stroud was not. Didn't have to be because he was so good as a passer. I don't think Kyle McCord is the passer that CJ Stroud is. I do think he's a little bit better athlete, a little bit more willing to take off, but I think the quarterback run game will be an element of what this team wants to be offensively in creating balance and hopefully having a little bit more trustworthy rushing attack. I'm not picking Devin Brown to be the starter. I'm not willing to go that far just yet, but the longer this thing drags out, the more I think Devin Brown becoming the guy becomes a realistic possibility. And then down at Alabama. Right now, Jalen Milroe entered the spring as the incumbent. He started games last year, had some moments last year, did some nice things last year, had some moments that you'd like to forget as well. Multiple turnover performance against Texas A&M, a bunch of turnovers last year in poor decision, poor fundamentals, poor ball security, but he did enter the spring as the starting quarterback. In the spring, it was Ty Simpson, and Ty Simpson could not close the gap. Now, that is not ideal, obviously, because you want as much competition at the position as you can possibly find. They opted to go to the portal and bring in Tyler Buckner. Tyler Buckner has yet, at this point of fall camp, be able to close the gap. So Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson just haven't done enough to surpass Jalen Milroe, who has been steady throughout fall camp. He hasn't blown away the competition, but he hasn't done anything to allow the competition to creep up and close that gap. The one guy who has made a significant move throughout spring, summer, and fall camp has been Dylan Lonergan. Dylan Lonergan, the true freshman, has really wowed the coaching staff with his accuracy, with his poise, with his decision-making at this stage of his development. Now, he's a true freshman. We've seen Alabama go with a true freshman in the past. That was Jalen Hurts back in 2016. And Jalen Hurts that year ultimately became the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. Jalen Hurts that first year relied very heavily on his athleticism, on being a big, physical, tough running football player. Now, he also had some really dynamic weapons to rely on, and Lane Kiffin, that was his last year as the OC, did a pretty good job of finding ways to create favorable matchups to simplify the read for Jalen Hurts. That's not the case this year with Alabama. They've yet to have that number one wide receiver emerge, the guy that they really want to feature, the guy that they're really trying to figure out, all right, here's the guy that we got to get 8 to 10 touches every game. Here's the guy that needs to get 6 to 8. Here's the guy that needs to get 4 to 6. They're happy and pleased with the progress they've made at wide receiver, but still trying to figure out exactly what the pecking order is going to be at that spot. So as of right now, I would be really surprised if it's not Jalen Milroe in week number 1. But as the season goes along, I think he's going to have to continue to win the job on a week-to-week basis because Ty Simpson's probably going to improve. Tyler Buckner's probably going to improve, you would hope. And then you would hope that Dylan Lonergan, as far as freshman progress is concerned, he'll continue to improve as well. But right now, I think Jalen Milroe has the inside track, the inside lane in what's been a 3-wide quarterback derby for most of this offseason, but has since become a 4-wide quarterback derby because of the emergence of Dylan Lonergan. So it'll be interesting to continue to watch that position on a week-to-week basis. But Jalen Milroe is a very dynamic athlete that's a pretty good deep ball thrower. And if they can control the line of scrimmage the way they want to control the line of scrimmage, he should be put in very favorable situations to become the first-year starting quarterback that he could ultimately become.